Hello, I'm Gavin Townsend here today with Kirk Miller, the 2010 Men's Health magazine competition winner. Thanks for this interview.
You're welcome.
Kirk, tell me about what you got into being a fitness model.
Okay, I'd say the most pivotal moment in my life to date was definitely winning the Men's Health Model competition in 2010. I'd say up until then, it wasn't like I entered the competition to become a fitness model. It was just I used to look at the magazine and you know, you'd sort of joke to your mates that you could get on the front cover of the magazine, like probably every other guy in the country. Saying it for years and years, you know, bored your friends to death telling them, and then got the push from one of my friends in 2009 to enter it. Entered it, made the final, but unfortunately missed a phone call.
So you're devastated?
I was devastated, yeah. I rang back a week too late. They said, yeah, you made the final, but you rang back too late. Obviously devastated. Probably didn't think about it too much for the next year. Just carried on doing my training, my usual, you know, day-to-day stuff. And then the following year, the same friend said, Kirk, I think you should enter this again. And if I'm honest, at the time, because I was so disappointed with the year before, I wasn't really too bothered. Basically, she entered it for me to enter the, you know, the end of the application form again. And to be fair, you know, when I had the phone call again to say I'd made the 2010 final, you know, I knew it was the right time then, and my gut instinct, you know, I had a good feeling about it.
You went for it, gave you all.
I did, and very fortunate enough, you know, I won. And to be fair, that changed my mindset.
It's also changed your life for the good as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's sort of like the moment I won that, it's sort of. I knew then that fitness was staring me in the face. I realised then that was where my true passion lay, and you know that obviously instigated, you know, a massive career change, and like you say, changed my life.
Well, you were a 26-year-old plumber.
Yeah.
And now you're a personal trainer.
Yeah, I mean, I won that in 2010. I mean, you know, it wasn't like I hated plumbing or anything like that, but you know, it didn't excite me. You know, every day I got up, it was sort of like I was maybe clock watching a little bit of work, and that's no way to live, you know. And then I sort of put the wheels in motion to, you know, I started doing my personal training course around my day-to-day job, and still carried on with training, and slowly but surely sort of worked towards, you know, making the career change.
And do you enjoy your personal training?
I do indeed, yeah.
What do you enjoy about it?
What I enjoy about personal training, for me, I sort of typify the famous saying that says, you know, when you find a job you love, you never have to work a day in your life. You know, when I'm training someone, I don't look at a pound sign, and you know, yeah, technically we all want to go to work because you want to earn money, but sure. I love what I do. I love changing people's lives, and seeing someone, you know, come to me depressed or low, saying they want to change both their mind and their body, and then seeing people grow and change, you know, both from the superficial side, which is your body, and then seeing them grow mentally. For me, there's no greater pleasure.
So, can you give me a few examples of people you've helped with great transformations?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of great transformations, I mean, I've got a lady today she's entering a competition in Birmingham. It's like a bikini competition, but it's also like fitness tests. I mean, when she came to me probably less than a year ago now, she couldn't even do a lunge. And she said to me, you know, I want to lose weight, I want to feel better. She just split up from her husband. And, you know, she was in a bad way. You know, she'd be going out drinking and, you know, excessively every weekend. And, you know, she was 3.5 stone heavier than what she is now. And it didn't happen straight away, because ultimately she was still sort of very upset from her, you know, split up from her husband and stuff, but the transformation she's made is nothing short of incredible. I mean,
how does it make you feel to have helped that person make that transformation?
You know, how it makes me feel in terms of seeing someone grow, both physically and mentally, you know, is incredible. For me, I get more satisfaction out of seeing someone like Nikki, which is her name, grow both in mental and physical stature than I do out of any personal gains. I go to the gym, I've got no excuse not to be in shape. You know, I've trained all my life, I've background in football, I've always trained, I've always had the good trainers around me, good advice, you know, people pushing me, and it's it's part of my life now.
So what's your fitness like at current?
My fitness is okay. I mean, predominantly most of my training now is weights and resistance. Incorporate bits and bobs of cardio, but you know, for what I'm trying to achieve now in terms of my overall body composition, you know, my body type, I don't overdo cardio and stuff, but you know, I like to feel fit and healthy as well as obviously look good.
So how much do you weigh at your peak, and what sort of body fat percentage do you prefer to stay at?
I mean, I fluctuate body weight maybe between say 78 to 81 kilograms. I mean, depending on how lean I am, but I'd say, you know, I was in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago. I had a couple of really good important shoots. I weighed about maybe 78.5 kilos, and I was probably around about 4 or 5% body fat, you know. So I was
What are your energy levels like though? Quite low
they
at that
weren't
time?
the best, you know. What I want to say to people, as much as when people see you on the front cover of a magazine or you're at your most leans for a shoot, you know, it's in terms of your training and say the week in the lead up to a shoot like that, you know, you're not your strongest, so it's a little bit misleading, I think, you know, to people out there.
So obviously you've got to be careful with what you say, because I'm sure you do stuff with magazines all the time. But would you say a lot of the advertising can be quite false for the average Joe person?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the advertising can be quite false, but I mean, it's not, you know, I think...
Something to inspire to, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, with someone like myself, I mean, one thing I can guarantee on my part is if someone sees me on the front cover of a magazine ripped, you know, I look like that, you know, and I'm not saying anything against the...
You haven't gone for the airbrushing too much?
No. For me, it would kill me if someone see me in the flesh and said, well, you don't look like your picture, so, you know, I think you get found out if you, you know, you like that.
Can you explain a bit more about the Y3T?
About the Y3T. Y3T is an amazing training concept formulated by Neil Hill. It basically works on a rotating 3-week cycle where you're doing different repetitions from week to week. Week 1 would be, for instance, anything from, say, 8 to 12 repetitions. Week 2, say, 12 to 18. Week 3 would be drop sets, anything from 40 to 60 reps to 80 reps on legs. And the basic overall principle is you're stimulating every single muscle fibre over a 3-week period. You're burning fat, building tissue, and preventing injury. For me, anyone looking to sort of train consistently hard throughout the year, you cannot go wrong with the Y3T training principle. You know, it's been used by a number of world-class athletes all over the world, not just bodybuilders, but in sports. You know, because it focuses on overall body composition and not
so
just.
You're not in that same boring routine.
No. Not only do you stimulate your muscles from differently from week to week, but you know, it's more your mind as well. Your body and mind are never guessing. So it's an amazing training concept, and you can't go wrong with it, really.
So what's your diet like generally?
My diet has changed massively over the last year to 2 years. I mean, I'd say up until, say, the last 6 to 12 months, I was like your standard fitness model who thought the only way to stay in shape was to go stupidly low carbs, you know, pretty much starve yourself into shape, and you know, that can do a lot of damage.
And your energy levels fluctuate heavily.
Yeah, energy levels, but not only that, your mental fatigue. You know, you start to resent training. It's sort of like it can take over your mind. You know, like, you know, you can affect people around you and stuff. And so my diet now has changed massively. I mean, I've got a lot to thank for Neil Hill. You know, I'm working heavily with Neil now. You don't understand how much food you can get away with when you're training hard. Your body needs carbs. You know, it needs a good source of energy. Because if you train harder, you lift more weight. You gain more muscle tissue.
Absolutely, especially for recovery.
Recovery, but also, you know, especially like for my sort of body type and a lot of guys who are fitness models who are naturally lean. You know, your body eats up glycogen and carbohydrates, you know, and the way I'm training now, how good I feel during my training sessions, your energy levels, you know, are through the roof. So if you enjoy your training more as well, which again is, you know, mentally a lot more maintainable throughout the year, you know. So
if you're a inspiring cover model, like yourself, you've done it, been there, done it, got the t-shirt, what tips would you give them?
If you're an aspiring fitness model, I'd say first and foremost, be consistent with your training, most definitely. Find a balance, you know. You don't want to, you know, as much as I train hard, I love training hard, I love eating clean, but find something that's maintainable year round. Because if you're looking to be a fitness model, you know, I say that as a pun because, you know, it's, you shouldn't look at it as like a full-time career as such, you know. Don't make it your obsession to become a fitness model. That'll come if you're training hard and, you know, you be consistent with what you're doing, but just, I'd say make sure that, you know, because as a fitness model, you could be called on a shoot at any time of the year, so don't get ever drastically out of shape. But at the same time, find a balance to your life. You know, if your vice is a drink of alcohol, or, you know, you like, you know, certain type of food, just there's no harm in that. Incorporate that into your diet and make it a lifestyle thing, because ultimately, if you're a fitness model, it's not like you're dieting to be 2 minutes on a stage of the bodybuilding show. So why do you know, I used to be in that mindset that I've got to be super shredded 24/7. You know, I've got to back my abs, you know, I've got to be ripped from my abs, and then that can be to the detriment of your overall physique.
It ruins you mentally as well.
Yeah, mentally and your physique. You know, you can affect. You know, it's not all about the abs. It's, you know, and you've got to. The thing is, you haven't got to be 2% body fat for every single fitness shoot you do. So, you know, what you're going to do is like starve yourself all year round just on the off chance you might get a shoot here and there. You know, so just enjoy it and enjoy the process of getting into shape, and then never get too far out of shape. You know, that it don't take you too long to get shoot ready.
So what are your best tips for the best abs?
Best tips for the best abs. My own personal beliefs, you know, I'm a massive fan of heavy ab routines. One thing I'll most definitely say is always start on lower abdominal work. I'd say 3/4 of my abdominal training is lower abs. Don't overcomplicate it, you know. I see all these mad fancy routines, you know.
Keep just standard leg raises.
My favourites for, I'd say the 3 best lower ab exercises I like: the reverse cable crunches. Again, I'll focus on anything from 8 to 12 repetitions, 3 to 4 working sets. Hanging leg raises for sure. Swiss ball abs, focusing on your lower and your core. Russian med ball twist, that's probably my favourite of the lot because that incorporates both your lower abdominals, your obliques, and your core stability. And keep it simple like that. And also I'd say in terms of technique, if you're giving 8 to 12 repetitions, control the movement. The negative part of the movement, which is the downward part, should always be under tension, especially when you're doing 8 to 12 reps. You know, because if you're doing it so fast, you're not giving you time, not enough time to register the reps. Constant tension on the muscle, and don't sacrifice your form. Quality, not quantity, for sure.
That's the biggest problem in most gyms, isn't it?
Yeah, what it is, people are too scared to, you know, it's the ego thing, you know. Unless they say they're hanging a 20 kilo weight off their abs, and you know, it's not the way. You know, your mind doesn't register the number; it registers the effort and the intensity.
And actually, some people are more stronger than others. I've seen somebody squat over 180 kilos perfectly. The next person's come up.
Yeah.
And try to do the same and always break their legs.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and at the end of the day, you know, you just learn the basic principles of whatever technique you're doing first correctly, and then the weights will come with that, and so will the body. You know, so don't cut corners. You know, and it will show up on your physique for sure.
So Kirk, if somebody wants to find more about you, have you got a blog? Have you got a following?
I'm in the process at the minute of forming a new website. That'll be kirk/miller.com. But you know, in the meantime, if you could follow me on Kirk_absmiller on Twitter, I'll be happy to answer any fitness questions. Because what I like about Twitter is obviously everyone can, you know, it's quite an open forum where people can see the same answers to the same questions. And also my fitness page, Kirk Miller Fitness page on Facebook. And also I'm now part of Physique Elite, so you can find me on the Physique Elite website, and I'll be happy to answer any fitness questions for sure.
Well, thank you very much for the interview, Kirk Miller.
All right, thank you.